It started on one of those nights that should have been quiet, the kind where nothing happens, where the only sound you hear is the hum of a streetlight and the faint buzz of a gas pump. But for Alicia Carter, quiet never really meant safe. She had just finished 12 hours in the emergency room, 12 hours of cracked ribs, broken promises, and the kind of exhaustion that sits deeper than your bones. She pulled her silver sedan into pump number 4 at a rundown gas station off Route 19. Her scrubs were wrinkled, a coffee stain spread faintly across her thigh, and her hair was shoved into a bun that said survival more than style. In the back seat sat her son Malik, 10 years old, hood pulled over his head, a spelling app glowing on his tablet. The boy was bright, too bright sometimes, with the kind of quiet that made adults forget he was listening until he remembered everything later. His inhaler rested on the seat beside him like an old friend. Alicia leaned through the cracked window. "I'm just grabbing water, baby. 2 minutes." Malik gave her a thumbs up without looking away from his screen. "I'm killing these words," he whispered proud, and she smiled just for a second, the kind of smile that says, maybe things will be okay. But they weren't, because across the lot a police cruiser idled two officers sitting inside sipping coffee like hawks waiting for movement. Officer Randall Briggs was the older one, thick neck, red face, the kind of man who chewed on power like gum. Beside him sat Officer Tyler Cross, younger, wiry, with a buzz cut and a smirk that never seemed to leave his face. They spotted her, and that was enough. "Nice car," Cross muttered, eyes narrowing. "Doesn't look like she owns it." Briggs chuckled. "Scrubs don't pay for that ride. Let's go say hello." They didn't hurry. They walked slow, like gravity bent for them. Alicia saw them the moment they opened their doors. She straightened, squared her shoulders, one hand steady on the pump. Her voice was even when she spoke. "Evening, officers." Briggs ignored the greeting. "This your vehicle?" "Yes, sir." "Bought it last month. Registration's up to date." She pulled her license and papers from her pocket before they even asked, handed them over with calm hands that had held too many dying bodies to tremble now. Cross circled the car, pretending to check the plate. Briggs held her license, but never looked down, his eyes drifting over her skin instead. "You work at Riverbend General. I'm a nurse. Night shift." He smirked. "Doesn't really look like someone in scrubs could afford this." Alicia blinked slow, the way people do when they've heard the same insult too many times. She didn't answer. Inside the car, Malik had stopped spelling. He watched his mother's shoulders stiffen. He had seen that before at grocery stores and classrooms at banks. He knew what it meant. His fingers slipped into his backpack, pulling out his phone. He typed fast, "Mom's in trouble. Gas station. 2 cops. Route 19. He hit send to one contact, his Uncle David. Then without a word, he opened the recorder, tucked the phone under his hoodie, and pressed the red button. "I'd like my ID back now," Alicia said evenly. Briggs didn't move. "Got anything in the car we should know about my son?" she said. "That's who's in the car." Cross leaned to the window, sneering. "That him back there? Doesn't look 10. He's 10, doing homework." "Out this late? That's safe?" Briggs asked, mocking. Alicia clenched her jaw. "I don't need parenting tips, officer." I cooperated. "You had no cause to stop me. You getting smart?" Briggs stepped closer. "I'm talking to you like a citizen," she said, voice steady. Cross circled back toward the driver's side. "Maybe she's hiding something. Keeps looking at the kid like he's a decoy." Alicia's body tensed. "He's scared." "You're scaring him." Briggs leaned in close. "Where's your phone?" She hesitated. "Why?" "Feels like you're about to make a scene," he hissed. "I was going to call my brother. He's waiting for us. Call whoever you want. Hell, call the mayor." Cross chuckled. She reached for her phone. She never made it to her ear. Briggs slapped it out of her hand. It skidded across the pavement into a puddle. "That's my personal property," she cried. Briggs shoved her hard against the car. Her body jolted. Cross twisted her wrist behind her back. "Stop resisting," he barked. "I'm not resisting. My son is watching," and he was. Malik's breath came faster, shallow, his chest rattling. His hand scrambled for his inhaler. "Mom," he gasped, voice paper thin. "I can't." "Shut up," Briggs snapped, yanking the car door open. He slapped the inhaler from Malik's hand. "No kid fakes that," Alicia screamed, twisting free just long enough to dive for the inhaler, shoving it back to her boy. Press down now, Cross dragged her back again. Malik wheezed, pressing the canister with trembling fingers. His breath came ragged, broken. You both think you're special, Briggs growled. Think anybody's gonna care what happens here tonight? And then the headlights hit bright, slicing through the mist. An SUV screeched into the lot. Doors flew open. A tall man in a charcoal suit stepped out, rain streaking across his shoulders, voice low but sharp as a blade. Take your hands off my sister. Right now, Briggs froze. Cross shifted. Neither moved further. Malik blinked through fogged windows. He didn't understand everything, but he knew one thing: the man standing there was power. The recorder under his hoodie caught every word. The man walked forward, slow, deliberate. He raised a badge case above his shoulder. Gold glinted under the floodlights. Mayor David Carter. And I said let her go. Silence hung heavy. Briggs's hand twitched near his holster, but the sound of sirens cut through the air. Two more cruisers sliding into the lot, red and blue, bouncing off wet pavement. Only these weren't reinforcements for Briggs and Cross. These officers moved straight to the mayor. Orders, sir, the sergeant asked. Relieve them of duty. Now, Briggs spat, yanking off his belt, throwing it onto the hood. This is a damn circus. Cross held out his arms like a martyr, over some mouthy nurse and her faker kid pathetic. No one answered. The silence this time didn't feel like fear. It felt like judgment. Paramedics rushed in. Malik was lifted out, gently, oxygen mask pressed to his face. Alicia's knees buckled, but her brother caught her. You did good, sis. He's alive because of you. But Alicia shook her head. He's alive because of him, she whispered, looking at her son. Word spread before the night was over. By morning, hashtags flooded every screen. #Justice for Malik, #Nurse, not criminal, #Riverbend, accountability. The recording Malik captured went viral. Briggs's sneer, Alicia's calm, pleased, the sound of a child gasping for air. Nurses walked out of Riverbend General in silence, standing in scrubs with signs, "We save lives." Who saves ours? The city held its breath. Weeks later, in a courtroom packed shoulder to shoulder, the recording played again. Every insult, every slap, every wheeze. Then the surprise: the gas station's camera, thought-provoking, had recorded grainy footage of the entire encounter. The jury didn't take long. Guilty on all counts: excessive force, child endangerment, obstruction, falsifying a report. There was no applause when the verdict was read, just tears, quiet nods, and the kind of relief that weighs as heavy as grief. At a community gathering that weeks later, Malik was called to the front. He hesitated, clutching his mother's hand, until an older man stepped forward, a retired officer named Roy Lewis. He held a small frame inside it, a battered old badge. I threw this in the river the day I quit, Roy said. But you made them listen. You were braver than men 3 times your size. This isn't a trophy, son. It's a reminder. Malik took it, hand steady now, holding it against his chest. The room didn't clap. They stood in silence, not out of mourning but respect. And then Mayor Carter spoke. We live in a time where silence is rewarded more than courage. But tonight we honor courage that came small, with sneakers and asthma and a finger-pressing record. And it changed everything. From that case came the Carter Act. Every officer in Riverbend now required to keep body cameras rolling in every encounter. No excuses, no shadows to hide in. Alicia accepted a role on the Civilian Oversight Board. She didn't want fame. She wanted mothers to be heard without screaming. Malik went back to school. When a classmate asked if he wanted to be a cop, he shook his head. Nah, I want to be a doctor. But I'll never forget what I saw. That night in Riverbend didn't just change one family. It cracked open a barrel people had been told was too heavy to move. And it started with a 10-year-old boy pressing record. So now I ask you, what do you think justice looks like? Is it a courtroom, a badge, a law with a child's name on it? Or is it the sound of a small voice saying, Mom, I can't breathe, and the world finally being forced to listen? Tell us in the comments, because until every mother feels safe, until every child can breathe without fear, none of us are truly safe.